How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to talk about how to animate static meshes in Sequencer in a very particular way, because we're going to be using the static mesh that's already within a blueprint. This is a cool way to do it, very easy, as opposed to just sticking together in the editor over here. So as you can see, this is the ship that comes with the Minerva challenge from KIRK 3D. It's pretty good ship. And it comes in a blueprint, and I decided I'm gonna use it as part of a short film, and I'm also gonna give my 2 cents to help out whoever is doing the challenge. Unfortunately, I cannot join the challenge because I have too many projects running, including running the channel and my day job. But I'm hoping this tutorial will help some of you that are participating in the channel, or if you watch this in the future and you wonder how to animate static meshes that are inside a blueprint, this is the way to go in Sequencer. Now, before we get started, and if you're doing the Minerva challenge, one thing that's going to be very useful for you is going to my friend's channel, KIRK. This is not a sponsor. He's actually the admin of the Discord server. So if you are on the Discord server, you've probably seen him around. He does have a YouTube channel with cool material videos. So I haven't done material videos in a while, and I think he's filling that void very good with doing some materials, and especially the landscape material. If you want to join the challenge, he has some pretty good landscape materials. You should watch those videos to get some unique environmental design for your challenge. And if you're not doing the challenge, then I still highly recommend you go and watch his channel. He's also on our Discord server. So as you can see, he has a couple of sections here where he has his videos, because he's a very, very cool admin. He's helped me a lot with the server, and he helps a lot in the community overall. So if you want to give him some love, make sure you subscribe and like any video that you watch. He also has some downloads here, so he does share his files in case you want to follow along or having problems with these assets. Also, make sure to subscribe to our Discord. He is here. He has a dedicated Ask KIRK a Question, and he usually responds in a timely manner. So if you watch his videos and have any issues, make sure you jump into our Discord server, and he'll be there to help you out. Again, thanks, KIRK, for all your work, because you've been amazing with the Discord server. All right, now back over here. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at this ship. So I'm just going to browse to it. And as you can see, I imported just the ship. There are other things in the Minerva assets that you can animate, but this would serve as a base as to what are the actions you're going to take with every single blueprint that you see over there. So this is the original blueprint. This is the blueprint that I make. And you're going to see why I make a duplicate in a second. So if we open the blueprint, you're going to see the blueprint is composed of several static meshes. We do not see a skeletal mesh here. And that's why you have to go and animate it in Sequencer, because there are no skeletal meshes. There are no bones that are driving these. So let's just take a look at the ship as it comes. So as you can see, it has the thrusters placed in a very particular position. It also comes with this hood latch and these pistons. I think they're like hydraulics. It also has an inside, which I am not using it for my short film, so I actually deleted some of this stuff. But if you need to like have a character coming down of this cargo ship, it'll be good for that. Now, what we're going to do is, the first thing is that I recommend to duplicate this asset, so in case you mess up something, then you can always go back to it. Now, if I show you here, each point has a pivot that we can use for animation. So if I click here and I go to rotate, we can actually rotate these. However, they are not in their pivot points, so we can change that in the editor. It's not a big deal. But what I mean is, you can actually move every single part that you want here in the blueprint. However, I'm not animating here in the blueprint. I'm animating on Sequencer. So if we go ahead and just duplicate this, I'm gonna get in here. So let's say I want this ship to be flying. All I'm gonna do is I need to close this latch, because this is only for when it's land. So in this case, I did delete these. You can keep them and you can just turn them off in the visibility over here. But just for the sake of ease, I just got rid of these. When it comes to this cargo latch, I actually deleted the second part, and this part I just brought it back to where it belongs. So one criticism that I'm going to give to the guys at KitBash3D, I don't know if they're going to watch this or not, but if they do, it'll be nice to always have the pivots in places where we're going to use them, because it makes no sense to have the pivot here. But I mean, it doesn't matter that much. You can always change the pivot yourself here in Unreal. It's just easier when it comes with the pivot where it's supposed to be. All right, so we close the latch. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to bring all the legs up. I'm just going to Control, select all of these. And I'm going to make sure I'm in world position, so I go straight up. And we're going to go all the way up. And I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. All right, so now we are done pretty much. And you can just change the rotation of these if you wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it at that. And all you have to do is compile and save. And now you have your asset that you can play with. I'm actually going to get out of my sequencer. We're going to create another sequence. I don't know. Let's make it. Let's just do it around here. I'm just going to bring my ship over here. And this is a good moment to talk about the emissives. So I changed the values of the emissives so I get these flares. And this is another example why Unreal tells you do not use emissives to light anything. Use actual lights. This is because you get this kind of noise. Like it's, I don't know, it looks like it's underwater. But this is because the emissives can only go so far. Everything that I'm doing here is pre-visualization. I'm not doing any of the final shots. However, for the final shots, I'm going to include some lights here. And we're going to talk about that in a coming tutorial. But for right now, I just want to show you the emissives changes that I made so you can get some nice flares like this. First thing right off the bat, if you want to get those flares, you have to go to your post-processing volume and make sure that your bloom is to convolution. Otherwise, it's not going to look like this. It's actually going to look like this, which is the game version of it. The convolution one is the cinematic version of this, and I explained this in another video too. If you want to search for that, I go more in depth into how to use this time. But let's just go into the emissive material. So if we go into Edit Blueprint, and we click on the body, or you can actually, if you don't want to go to Edit Blueprint, you can go here and look at your components over here. So if we choose the body, you're going to see, let me bring this up so you guys can see. I chose the body over here. And if I increase this, you can see all the materials. This has several materials, which is really good. I like that it's broken down into several materials. That means you can customize to your heart's content. Now, if I go all the way down, you're going to see there's a couple of them that say emissive. So here is the first emissive. It says KIB3D MTM emiss blue. We double click this one, it's going to show up over here. And the value that I changed is the emissive multiplier, because the emissive multiplier was all the way down to 1, which is not bad. You know, you're supposed to customize it, but it looks like this. So if we keep going down, there's another one here. There's emissive red, which I actually didn't like. So this one is turned all the way down, but there's also emissive light, which is controlling these lights over here that I think look really cool. But if I bring this down to 1, which is its default value, you're going to see that this is how our ship looks. And for a ship that has emissive over here, it's not looking great. Now you can stick some lights here, which is what I'm ultimately going to do. But when you stick the lights in front of it, you do not get that flare. You get that flare from the emissives. So this is why it's important that you go over here, double click, and then you go into the emissive multiplier and increase it to however amount you have your exposure to. I'm using manual exposure. So I'm going to go 150, which is what I had before. And you can see that instantly I have those lights here. However, I do need some lights, actual lights, not just emissives, so I don't get these issues right here. But again, we're going to talk about that in another tutorial. Now that we fixed the emissive, which should change the emissive blue as well. Let's go over here and let's change this to 200. Save it. And as you can see, looking really cool over here. We got the nice glow and that nice flare to the sides, as any sci-fi show will have you. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to animate this baby in sequencer. Whoops. And the reason why that happens is because I have components selected. So be careful if you have anything here selected and you move it, you're probably going to move just that component as opposed to the whole thing. All right, so let's animate this. It's coming from below the sun. It's actually a good take. This is what I mean by happy accidents. I do like the God rays coming down off the ship. That looks cool. That looks like a good take. Anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another sequence. So at level sequence, I'll just call it whatever. I'm going to call it tutorial ship. Here's my sequence, and the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a camera. So I'm just going to do create a camera here, and it creates a camera for you. This camera, it's a little bit too close. I'm just going to do 30, and I'm going to back away a little bit. Okay, I think this is enough. Let me see. Let me back away like this. All right. Okay, let's say this is our shot. Let's change this to 500 and this one to 300. These are some values of mine. You can just put however long you want this take to be. Just gonna drag this all the way up here. And we have our camera and we have our ship. Now we need to add our ship blueprint into our sequencer. So I'm just going to go here, drop my ship here, and you can see that there is nothing to animate the ship with. So you need to click on track and transform. Over here we have the transformations for our ship. And I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm just going to lower it and maybe do a little bit of rotation. Let's just do linear. All right, now that we have location and rotation set up, I'm going to go all the way down here. Maybe not all the way down to the red flag, but I'm just going to make sure you have auto key selected as well, so it keys things out. And I'm going to bring it all the way down here to leave some space for the legs. There wasn't any rotation, so rotation was not keyed. And there you go. So it comes like this. It's slowly coming down. It's actually very slow. Probably bring this all the way to here. I actually suggest that you look at reference. Helicopter landing would be fine. I don't know if maybe a VTOL landing would also be fine. Or just watch some movies that have these. Always use reference. I know I'm going to use some when I'm doing the final shot. Now, when we go to our camera, actually gonna go to our camera, and we go all the way down here, we see that we no longer see him, so we want our camera to be animated as well. Let me get my scrub bar all the way over here. By the way, if you see me using shortcuts and whatnot, please watch my tutorial playlist on how to use Unreal Engine for short films. I usually do all these shortcuts and how to manipulate all these over there. So we're going to also do location, rotation, and we're going to go all the way down to where the ship is. And I'm just going to go like this. And let's see how that looks. Ship is coming down with the camera. And there you go. Boom. Almost lands on the head of this character. Alright, now that we have our ship animated along with our camera, the next thing that I'll do is just pull out the legs. And so he lands on something and it doesn't land on its sole weight, because that's why the ship has legs. So if we go over here into our asset on sequencer, we go to track, you can see that you have all the components from this blueprint, and that's one of the good things that they give you a blueprint asset, is because you can just track every part of the component over here without having to attach it. Now let's select leg A, let's do leg B and leg Z. And once you have them over here, it's a matter of tracking each transformation for each and every single leg. So we're going to transform each and every single leg, track, transform, And we have the transfer of all of them. Now, what I like to do is I always like to key everything in 0. So we're going to select all these and we're just going to key them out. Make sure they're all keyed and make sure they're all, I'm just going to leave them in non-linear because I think it looks good in non-linear. And then we're going to go all the way down here and see when it lands. So it lands here. Let's pull out the legs around here. And what we need to do is just make sure you're in world, because if you are in object, so object would be like this, each of these may have its own pivot point different when it comes to Y and Z. So just do it on world. It's just easier because you have all of them selected. I'm going to pull all of them down at the same time right around here. And you can see that they pull out this way. However, we don't want them to be pulling out all the way down here. We actually want them to start pulling out around here. So I think I'm going to bring this over here. So they are actually pulled out in this moment. Now, the way that we're going to do that is we're going to drag all these all the way over here. And that way they are going to get pulled out right at this moment in time. So if we go down and then pulls out and it lands, and now we probably have to adjust our ship so the legs don't go through, and we pull it up all the way over here. And there you go. We have our ship. It extends its legs right around this point. Boom. And then the ship lands. All right. There needs to be some like stretch and squash over here with the pistons and all that. But that's some refinement that can take several hours. I just want to show you how to animate parts of these blueprints. Now, if you wanted to animate the thrusters, you don't like the position of the thrusters here, what we can do is exactly the same thing that we would just done. So I'm just going to close these. Going to go over here. And I'm just going to do it with these 2 thrusters, so it doesn't take too long. So let's go into, let me see which is which. So if we go over here to the components, let's look for thruster A is this one, thruster B is the front. So in this case, I think it's thruster B and C. If we want to animate the ones in the front, I'm just going to go here and do thruster B and thruster C. Now that we have both of these, we need to also add our transformations. There you go. We both have transformations for these, and once you select it, you can see where the pivot's at. All right, so let's now go forward, and we're going to add a key here just to rotate this forward. I'm going to select this one. We're going to rotate this forward. And maybe they don't rotate so soon. Maybe they rotate like right around here, and we just move these. And it's a quick-ish rotation. Let's play that back. And they rotate. This is why I left it non-linear. And boom. That's a good landing. And again, this is how you animate and take out your feet and just land this ship. And you can do this with any of the other blueprints. I know there's a rover in the Minerva asset that you can use this with. And there are other things that you can do if there are made as a blueprint. There are some doors. If you want to do the challenge as a video, or in the future, if you're using any of these assets that are made of blueprints, because I know Kitbash 3D does these with your assets. If you're using any of their assets, then you can just animate them this way. This is a good thing about having your assets in a blueprint format. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Here are, as always, my level 2 patrons. I always get a shout out on the screen at the end of each video. Thank you so much for watching. The Patreon link is below if you want to help the channel. If not, then you can just leave a like and leave a comment for the YouTube algorithm. It goes a long way. There's a Twitter if you want to follow the short film updates, as well as the Instagram. And if you have any questions, just join the Discord. Remember, there's our friend Captain KIRK over there on the Discord if you want to visit his channel. Highly suggested. Here is our Discord with all his stuff as well. And I'll see you in the next video.